This is Pete Moore on Halo Talks NYC. I have the pleasure of having NHL Hall of Famer, Stanley Cup Champion, hailing out of St. Louis, Missouri, by way of Ontario, Chris Pronger. Welcome to the show.
Thanks, Pete. Thanks for having me.
So I figured we should probably kick off this podcast with a little bit of "Oh Canada," because I missed going to my hockey games, and my fiance was shocked when I went to a Kings game pre-pandemic, and I just stood up and sang the whole "Oh Canada" song. You know, I sang my heart out before the game.
I love it. See, passion.
Oh,
it brings it.
Canada, our home and native land. True hatred, love, in all thy son's command. All right, that's good. That's good. Let's kick it off. All right, welcome to the Halo sector, my friend. So why don't you give us a little bit of background? Obviously, people know about you from your professional career and one of the top defensemen. So I want to use this time to get to know what you're up to in the business world post-career. And also maybe help some of the other athletes and entrepreneurs kind of think through, getting to the next level with their own ventures.
Yeah, absolutely. So when I was injured in Philly in 2011-12, spent a couple of years really trying to get myself healthy. Bad eye injury, bad concussion, and did a lot of therapy. Used travel as a method of healing. And really kind of just really looked inward to try to refocus my energy and my ability to get healthy and use all means necessary to do so. And then once I felt comfortable kind of getting back out into the world and getting amongst the real people in the world, I started working with the NHL in the Department of Player Safety. I did that for 3 years. And then most recently was a senior advisor to the GM and president of hockey operations with the Florida Panthers, Dale Talon. And all the while I was in Florida, my wife had started a travel business, Well Inspired Travels, which has been a passion project from her on her end for really since she was 6 years old. Mm-hmm. And so as the genesis of that was she was 6 years old and her dad was diagnosed with stage 4 colon cancer. Was given a 10% chance to live. And with that, he looked at his wife and the kids and said, I want to see the world with the family for as long as I'm on earth. And that first summer when they got out of school, they went over to Europe and traveled all around Europe. And she got to see him full of life and passion and joy and happiness. And from a little 6-year-old's eyes, really got to see the healing powers of travel and what it could do for you. And they went back home. He was getting pounded with chemo and radiation and was a shell of himself, really. And all the while planning that next trip over to Asia. And she's a firm believer that he chose Asia because he wanted to marry Eastern medicine and Western medicine and learn more about holistic healing methods, learn more about acupuncture and transcendental meditation and the hallmarks of Eastern medicine and kind of marry the two. And they went over to Asia, the kids and my mother-in-law would go over and, they were doing all the touristy things, checking out the Great Wall of China and all the different sites. And he was immersing himself with a medicine man off in the jungle for 2 or 3 weeks at a time, learning about all this stuff. And they got home all the while using that as an outlet and a way to really, prolong his life and hopefully in his eyes, wait for Western medicine to catch up and allow an opportunity for hopefully a radical surgery, which did come along and saved his life really 2 years later, was given a clean bill of health, wow, cancer-free, and never had another issue with cancer again in his life. So from a very young age, she got to see the healing powers of travel and the mind, body, spirit, and what it can do for you. And that really left an indelible mark on her. And so they continued to travel. When we got together, we started to travel. And then when I was hurt in Philly, at the same time, it was really starting to form in her head and really starting to kind of take shape. Social media had taken off and she had a little private account and we had a lot of, friends, teammates, other athletes, business owners, wives, girlfriends, etc. And, they were following her and she was posting our travels on the account. And she was getting hit up 20, 30 times. Like, hey, there's that trust factor. There's that understanding that we know what they're going through. We know what they're dealing with. And, she started setting them up, helping them out, doing all this stuff. And, the light bulb moment of, hey, there's something to this. But at the same time, we had 3 young kids at home. I got hurt. Her mother had breast cancer. Her dad had a debilitating stroke. So from a timing perspective, it just wasn't right. And then, a little over 3 years ago, our oldest got his license, started driving. And when that happens, as you know, a lot of the pressure as far as carpooling and things like that are relieved. And you start looking bigger picture and seeing what's coming down the road, going off to school, and obviously kids leaving the nest and whatnot, and she's been, really kind of thinking deeper about this business, obviously much longer, and came to me and said, I want to start this and really want to help people understand what travel can do for them, understand the healing powers and how it really can kind of take your personal life and professional life to that next level. And started helping her with the business side while I was working with the Panthers, and started helping her, network and connect with people a little bit more. And, I've always had a passion for travel as well, and like event planning and like seeing the happiness and joys that a great trip, a great golf trip, fishing trip, what have you, can do for people. And, joined forces with her 2.5 years ago. And we kind of rejiggered the business plan and kind of who we were targeting, which are athletes, entertainers, C-level executives, business owners, high net worth family offices. And as I just mentioned, the reason for that is that's who we know. That's what we know from the demands in their time, the pressures of the job, the fame, the fortune, stress on home life, pressure on kids. We have a unique ability to understand what they're going through, what they're dealing with. Our business is really predicated on relationships and understanding who they are. No two people are alike. We certainly understand that from our family and our dynamic, and, we're real people. We want to get to know our clients and really kind of dig into what's going on in their lives so that we can help curate and steer them towards the right experiences for themselves, for their families, for their businesses, and make sure that they're getting full value for what they're trying to do and what experiences they're trying to get out of life.
So when someone comes to you, and let's say I'm a professional player, are you trying to diagnose kind of what I need? Like, I basically am telling you, here's kind of where I'm at, either mentally, psychologically, and you're kind of prescribing, look, I think this city and this spot is going to, help you towards your objectives? Or do you have, 30 or 40 places that you and your wife have been to say, look, we've actually been to these locations. I could actually tell you kind of what the DNA of it is and match those up? Or is it like highly curated? How do you guys think about the matching?
Yeah, it's highly curated. It's I think initially it's not diagnosing. Initially it's listening and really kind of building a profile and building out some information so that we understand what you're dealing with, what you're going through, where you are in your career life cycle, where you are in your family cycle, where you are in, all the different metrics that we track. And we really want to kind of get to know where you're at so that we can then understand the landmines and pitfalls and forks in the road that you're going to encounter. I think we've lived a very storied life thus far, and we're very open about our journey and our path and our struggles, our successes that we've had over the course of our marriage, our lives. And certainly I think people appreciate that and understand we don't have the Instagram filter on where our life is perfect and, there's no issues. And, all of a sudden something happens. You're like, oh my God, I didn't know that. They didn't ever post any bad stuff on there. So,
exactly.
I think
it's like a highlight reel. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. We're very real about who we are. And I think knowing what we know about what people are dealing with, I may be 46, but I feel like I'm 80 at times with everything I've been through in my life and career and everything outside of it. So, I think we have a unique ability to understand where people are at, what they need. And then it's through conversation and really kind of peeling back the onion layer, and that takes time to form that trust. We're I think the hallmark of our business and core value number one for us is privacy and discretion. We don't name drop. We don't talk about clients. We don't promote who our clients are. We're very understated in that regard. We like to keep, as I would when I was playing. I was very private, very discreet, very kind of under the radar. I didn't like people knowing where I was going, what I was doing. That's your private time, your family time. You want to kind of be able to get out of the limelight, get out of the picture, so to speak, so you can relax and decompress and kind of re-energize yourself and refocus yourself for whether it's a new fiscal year, a new calendar year, a new season, whatever the case may be. You want to be able to, recharge the batteries and be able to come out 100% each and every time you're out.
So there's definitely an analogy of what's going on in the health and fitness industry right now, where there's this push towards digital and everything's going to be curated for you through an algorithm. And at the end of the day, we believe that the personal trainer, the group exercise instructor, that health club, that localization, and that personal relationship is not going away. Even though people writing articles saying, oh, the health club industry is going to be like the arcade industry. And when you take a look at what you and your wife are doing, you're basically saying, hey, look, you could go on TripAdvisor and you could like drag and drop your itinerary, but you kind of going to get what, it's like, if you want to self-serve something that you don't know what you're serving yourself, you might actually want some personalization in a relationship. So do you see like
you get what you pay for?
Yeah. The level of technology is kind of like, it's a nice to have, but it's actually like there's reasons humans exist and like we should leverage our skill sets, and not just push it up. Right. So
no,
how
absolutely.
are what's your thoughts on that? It's kind of a little counterintuitive. Like, hey, what kind of business you're building?
Yeah, no, there's a lot, from an analytical standpoint, there certainly are all kinds of different companies and ways to do it. And some people want to do things on their own and they're interested in curating their own travel. And we're a resource, we're a service that, a higher end service, a luxury service that allows us to kind of really, as I mentioned earlier, peel back the onion layer, get to know you on a more personal level, understand what you're doing, what your expectations are, what you want to get out of your family life, your personal, your private life, your professional life, and really kind of curate and manage that so that as you learn about a new culture and you're looking at the drag and drop screen, as you say on TripAdvisor, there's 50 different properties that you can choose from. How are you going to know which one's going to be the right fit? And do you really want to spend 2 hours or 4 hours scrolling through all that information and scrolling through all those sites and trying to figure out and then ultimately waste all that time and choose the wrong property?
Yeah. And also I also think like the anxiety of like when you get on the plane until you actually get to the location to find out if it looks like it actually looks like in the picture, like that's got to be worth like at least a couple $100 an hour of anxiety.
Yeah. Pictures don't always tell the real story.
So when you think about the business that you're running now with your wife, and you think about back to your career and everything was about, what are we doing this season? And Dave and I are finishing up a book now where we're trying to do analogies between like the sports world and the business world. So when you approach like, 2021, obviously we've got a big hiccup here with COVID. And I think in a year we'll say, okay, we've been there, done that, we made it through. What do you take away from some of your, core elements of who you are as an athlete and turn that into what you're doing as an executive of a business?
Yeah, I think, being in the pandemic and being in high stress situations, I think it really, I wasn't stressed out. I wasn't worried about it. I think, being able to withstand the current times, if you will, allowed us the ability to actually invest more in our company, invest in our staff, invest in making sure we were training properly and kind of, really kind of digging into how we can best serve our clients. And it really gave us an opportunity to hire some fantastic people who are going to help make our company great. And, I think we're all invested in helping those clients that have given us the ability to kind of steer them in the right direction and curate and create amazing experiences for them and their families, their businesses. And I think really when I look at 2021, I really just looked at the pro forma sheets and kind of moved it over, and then actually added a little more based on the feedback that we're getting from clients and prospective clients and where their heads are at vis-a-vis travel and what they're looking to do. As one client said, and every time I say it, everybody goes, "Ooh, that makes sense." There's going to be a lot of revenge travel, a lot of pissed off people that have been stuck at home, not able to travel.
I like that. Okay.
And I think there's a lot of dry powder at home waiting to head off into their next experience, their next travels, and we're here waiting for them.
That's great. You know, when you look at the hotel properties and the resort properties around the world, or kind of in your direct purview, there's definitely a push towards providing more health and fitness recovery. How important is that on the list of your athletes when they want to, potentially train? And how discerning is it for you and your wife to say, hey, this property, might be equivalent to like this Hyatt and this Hilton as an example, just to throw two brands out, but this one's got a 10,000 square foot health club and a XL spa. And this one has, like a Hampton Inn type of, workout. And how does that rank? Because I want people to understand how you think about it from the requirement for travel, especially to cater to this type of clientele.
Yeah, no, it's very important, and that's another reason how we got started and why we got started. I was in the middle of my career when my wife and I met, and I was very maniacal about my training. I was very, involved and focused on my career and on, making sure that I was as fit as I possibly could be and not leaving anything to chance in that regard as it relates to my career. So when we first got together, would always say, well, why aren't we traveling more? Why aren't we doing this more? I'm like, well, this is 20 plus years ago, really the beginning of the health and wellness craze and in the hospitality industry. There wasn't a lot of properties that had the right gyms and the right spa amenities that I wanted. And we really had to dig and source properties that either had a gym nearby that was suitable for my needs, and then a spa and culinary and being able to eat the right foods. I trained 2 months and then we're going to go on a vacation and I'm not able to eat what I normally eat. I'm not able to train the way I normally train. It doesn't make sense to me that I would be doing that. So we needed to source properties, and that also kind of got the wheels in motion, and other teammates and friends of ours were calling about, setting them up at these various properties. And now when we, the health and wellness craze and halo craze, if you will,
thank you.
You look at where a lot of properties are when they're developing these resorts and building these properties. The fitness center and the spa are no longer the seventh thing on the list of let's fit it in. Right. It's a lot of them, that's the focal point of why they're building it, where they're building it. It's in a location where they can potentially make it bigger if needed. Over the last 4 or 5 years, we've been to a number of properties where the gyms have been very impressive and very I think they see the fitness craze, if you will, and see where people are at with relation to going away on vacation. They work out, they keep moving. They keep doing what they do in their everyday lives. And we build that into our programming and build that into how we curate our trips based on that aspect of life and wanting to stay in their everyday routine. They might go lay on the beach and they might have a few cocktails at dinner, but they're going to the gym in the morning, making sure they get their workouts in, making sure that they get their system cranked back up again so that, they don't skip a beat while on one of these travel experiences that we've curated.
Yeah. And are you getting feedback directly from them, down to, I don't know, as an example, like down to the instructor, down to like, hey, what, was that really a top 5-star gym? Is the spa really what they say it is? So are you kind of like continuously honing, like these properties are, not just 5-star, people say they're 5-star, but like they're 5-star, the way we look at it.
Yeah, from a culinary perspective, from a fitness center perspective, from the spa, we follow up with each and every client to make sure A, that they're happy, B, if everything went according to plan, and then asking detailed questions on what they liked. Was there anything that was above and beyond what you expected? Was there anything that was below expectations? And as we get that feedback, we're taking notes and kind of understanding where certain properties are at, which parts we really like, and you can then kind of continue to steer the right clientele in that direction. And then obviously, as you get good feedback on properties, you're really able to kind of figure out the right clientele to fit the right properties. And really, as we get more analytics back and data back, we're able to then kind of continue to hone our curated travels and make sure that people are as satisfied and pleased with their experiences as they should be.
So if I gave you a 300-room hotel, let's say it was shuttered because of COVID, and you had a blank check, and someone says, "Hey, Pronger, develop this hotel to meet every one of the needs," like what would be required in the room? Like, like I got an air filter, I got a water, filtration with alkaline. Do I put like an infrared sauna in every room? Like what's some of the things that you like? Look, if you want to be the best and you want me to recommend your hotel, like here's like some interesting things that you might not know about, maybe a salt room. What are some of the things that resonate with you that you would advise like the CEO of a big hotel chain, like, look, invest here?
Yeah, I think if you're taking a 300-room hotel, you probably make it 250. And make the rooms bigger, because if you're going to incorporate, let's say you have rooms and you put 50 infrared saunas in them, and then you have, you create certain sectors of a hotel or certain room types to be XYZ. Obviously, you're gonna want to build out a state-of-the-art fitness center. You're seeing the Equinoxes of the world coming into the hotel industry, with massive gyms and things of that nature, big spas. You want to have, you don't want to lose the boutiqueness of the property. You don't want it to be this gargantuan facility that is catering to the masses. I think, if the building has 300 rooms total, you're going to want to build out a couple high-end restaurants, spa, maybe you cut it down to 150 rooms and make it an all suite property. And you're able to then, you're obviously charging more and you're getting the right clientele, and you're getting the right amenities to fit that clientele.
Great. So going up to the more broader issue that we're dealing with in this country and around the world related to obesity and diabetes and hypertension. And if you have those mostly self-inflicted ailments, or underlying conditions, you're not fighting COVID the way an athlete could fight COVID. So are you optimistic that this, kind of turns into the Halo movement or the health and fitness movement is like the, accelerant on that? Or do you say, you know what, people, like to eat their pizza and there's more pizza commercials on, than anything else during the last year? What's your mindset? Are you optimistic?
Yeah, I think kind of twofold. I think the country has gotten in better physical fitness, has created more programming. I think there's a segment of the population that has gotten in much better shape, but I think there's also another segment. It's easier for a lot of people to go spend $5 at McDonald's and eat a couple hamburgers and a Coke than it is to spend 10 or 15 bucks on a salad with some chicken on it. Mm-hmm. And, unfortunately that's a product of resources, and the ability to pay for certain things. Yeah. And, that's unfortunate, and then obviously, as you said, some people are unwilling to change their habits. It either becomes an addiction or becomes habitual, and they're not able to get out of their own way sometimes. And they're kind of feeding the beast. Yeah. And, on both fronts, fitness people and fitness buffs, they got one lifestyle and they're all in on that. And the same thing on the other side, in the obesity side. So, I think the more you can peel away from the obesity side, and they don't have to be totally all in on the fitness side, but changing certain habits. Like, you don't have to go to 7-Eleven and drink a massive big gulp of Coke 4 times a day. There's certain things that you just don't have to do.
Yeah. There should be restrictions on the number of pumps someone's allowed to get at Starbucks. I was behind this woman that did not need like 6 pumps of sugar and like 4 pumps of cream. I was like, why are you
getting a coffee?
It's like, why don't you
by the way, getting caffeine on top of it.
I mean, why don't you go to the gas station and just like fill it up with like leaded instead of unleaded? It's like, come on. This machine only works on certain ingredients. Yeah. So in closing here, you got any good quotes or lessons you live by? Obviously, you've had a really interesting path and a lot of success, and starting up a company, is starting from ground zero, like every company. So how do you kind of stay?
Yeah, you know what? I think my hockey career and some of the things that I learned in pressure situations have kind of carried over now into this business, and especially with the pandemic. One thing that we really focus on and live by is never make any rash decisions in the time of crisis. Mm-hmm. Think things through, stick to the plan, be patient. A lot of times, it's a process, and building a great company takes time. As I said, we're not taking the shotgun approach and blasting away trying to get 250, 300, 400 clients all at once. We want to take one at a time, slowly, learn more about them, slowly provide great service and curate amazing travel experiences for them. And then use referral and use the time is on our side. And as the word gets out about our product and who we are and what we do and how we do it, we're very confident in our abilities and in our company and our ethos, if you will, of who we are and what we do, that people understand that and will come on board.
Awesome. All right. Well, I'm glad we got connected here today. Officially welcome you to the Halo sector. Feel free to use that term if you want to not use the word wellness. Say I'm like the Halo travel gurus and concierge service. And look forward to meeting up with you in person here sometime later this year when the coast is clear.
Yes, sir. Sounds good, Pete. Thanks for having me.
All right, man. I'll send you a picture of the guns.
Yes, the gun show.
Later, buddy. Have a great day, man. Good talking.
All right. Thanks, guys.
Awesome.
Take care.
Bye.
I want to thank my friends at Burn, BRRRN, for sponsoring this podcast. They are the innovative company behind the world-renowned Burn board. Many of you don't know, I was one of the top roller hockey players in all of Nassau County back in 1988 to 1990. If I had a Burn board, watch out, I would probably be an NHL legend. Got a 7-day free trial on their on-demand library of hundreds of workouts, $30 off the purchase. Check it out at shop.theburn.com. We'll have it in the show notes. Use the checkout code HALO and go burn it on the Burn board. Ice hockey in your living room, at-home fitness, low cost, low tech, low impact. Go Halo. Burn it up.